Greetings, and welcome to another episode of Soul Citizens. Today we're talking about Anvil Aerospace in our Shipyard series, and I would like to welcome our special guest, Buster. Buster, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good today. I am living the life. I went on a date today. Things are good.
And cool. And you're also joined by Gomab. How are you doing, Gomab?
Good, man. Good. Can't complain. And if I did, who would listen?
And for first time as a new host of Soul Citizen, Kalrati. Welcome, Kalrati. How are you doing?
Hey, beautiful people. Everything's good. Everything's good. Glad to be here.
I just want to say, Buster, it feels like it's been forever since I've seen you. When was the last time?
Last weekend on the captain's table, which originally
it's been 7 whole days, right?
I know, it was just you and Vertigo, but I told Paul, I could do this show today. I could do this show with Fast Cart Vertigo, which got demonetized like that on YouTube. So.
Both of them got demonetized. Hey, everybody in chat, welcome. Yes, as I said, today we're talking about Anvil Aerospace in our Shipyard series. So first up, Gomab, can you read our introduction to Anvil Aerospace, please? Oh, and thank you for the subscription like a jog to Buster. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for the subscription.
Give me one quick second. I am recovering, but now I'm back. All right. Anvil Aerospace is one of the earliest Terran success stories. Founded in 2772, Anvil has been reliably delivering military-grade equipment to the UAE Navy for almost 2 centuries. It's a long time. The initial Anvil Skunk Works facility was located in Nova Kiev, Terra, and the company's headquarters are still there. For the first 70-odd years of Anvil's existence, every design project was personally led by company founder J. Harris Arnold. Arnold, an eccentric spacecraft designer of the old school, who insisted on signing off on every part of his design subsystems, sound like somebody we know, was a beloved figure in an otherwise cutthroat industry. Today, Anvil has factories on 36 UAE core worlds, but continues to source all systems itself and requires that the standing CEO sign off on every spacecraft alteration. The company's moniker comes from a quote in Robert Calvin's famous early justification for UAE expansion, explaining that military spending fuels the furnaces of expansion and strikes the anvils of innovation. There's little argument. Fueling the furnace of expansion is exactly what Anvil has been doing since day one. The company has produced dozens of successful and iconic military spacecraft over the years, including the Hurricane, Osprey, Devastator, Hornet, and Gladiator. No military campaign in the last 2 centuries has been launched without Anvil spacecraft in the forefront. And no carrier in the UAE space today operates without at least a squadron of Anvil design fighters. In fact, Anvil designs have historically scored more space-to-space kills than any other military spacecrafts. Hornets, in particular, have destroyed more enemy hardware measured in star credits than all other current Navy space fighter designed combined.
Thank you for that, Gomab. I appreciate it. Quick question, just say, around, but how many Anvil ships do people own? Like, I own only one, but I bounced around in the past. How about you, Buster? How many Anvil ships? 2? And Gomab?
I was counting. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Let me count the ways. At the current moment, I own 1, 2, 3, 4 Anvil craft.
All right, Kalrati?
At the moment, I don't own any of them, but I pretty much have all of them in my buyback. So yeah.
No, I mean in your hangar. In your hangar.
Nada for now.
Nada. Okay. And Buster, how many do you counting?
Well, I have an Arrow. I have Heartseeker. I used to have Hurricane, but I upgraded it to an Ares, so I guess I technically have one in a buyback. And I can't think of I probably have a couple others I'm not thinking of, but
5. I got 5, I guess.
yeah, I got at least 2 or 3 because I
Yeah,
love
right
the
now-
arrow.
Right now, I only have one, but that's the Heart Seeker. But I've had the Super Hornet, the normal the M brand for a while.
Are you gonna name
just wondering.
the Bang Stang Beta?
Yeah.
Got the Arrow. I got a Ballista, a C8, a Carrack, a Terrapin, and there's one more on here that I have.
All right. I was just curious. Kalrati, do you want to read the civilian craft blurb for me, please?
Yeah, sure. All right, so civilian craft. Anvil's civilian line is relatively new, a decision that many at the company initially resisted. The general feeling was that producing civilian-grade versions of dedicated military spacecraft would dilute the brand. Anvil's carefully maintained position as the tip of the spear would be in danger, or so they thought. Debate over the issue became so protracted that it threatened to split the company into 2 separate groups, with the civilian wing formally licensing the military designs. This was ultimately all for naught, as the UEE government stepped into the debate. Ooh, who's that? Okay.
Oh, that is
Thanks for
standard
the
deviation.
subscription.
Thank you.
Sweet.
22 months. Wow. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, so this was ultimately all for naught as the UEE government stepped into the debate with a surprising resolution. They actually favored the concept of supplying military-style weaponry to civilians, especially on the distant frontiers. And I heard another alert for that.
Yeah, the Made in
Thanks for the
Ariana. Thank you.
subscription.
Thanks, Ariana.
Thank you.
Right, so a home defense militia squadron of slightly less than mil-spec but still fearsome Hornets, it was reasoned would make a better deterrent than a squad of Dre Cutlasses. Of course. So, 1 second. It was just expanding this a little bit.
Yeah, it jumped.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
I don't think you can.
Don't worry.
I have to copy and paste.
Yeah, do that right now.
There you go.
There we
Okay, it
go.
went back.
Okay. All right. So where was I? Okay, nice. Cutlass. All right. So the process of civilianizing a design like the Hornet is more complex than it seems. UEE military secrecy laws mean that on average, 60% of the hardware in a given spacecraft simply cannot be offered to the public. Apple. Some of these replacements, like mil-spec Gatling guns, would be expected and relatively easy to resource in a modern modular design. But those requirements also govern systems as innocuous as rudder pedal boot locks or rubber cockpit ceiling strips. Design teams must effectively work double blind, replacing existing systems without being given access to their military equivalents. In some cases, designers must reconstruct subsystems based solely on publicly available holographs, while the team that designed the original systems operates next door, wholly unaware. That sounds like hell.
Yeah, I was like, hey, that's a lot of words that's thrown at me.
yeah.
I kind of understand what's going on. So basically, it's not easy to make a spacecraft, is what they're saying. I guess.
Definitely not.
But I want to say to the viewers who are watching on live on Twitch right now, if you have questions, submit questions. You can use the Eclipse and use one token to submit a question. So we'll take care of those at the end of the show. So go ahead and submit those if you have any. Okay, so first up, I think we have the Anvil Arrow. So I think we have a video for that. Then we can continue our discussion.
There are some designs that transcend time. We look to the past for inspiration to craft the light fighter of the future. Unmatched design, best-in-class maneuverability. Leave your enemies bewildered. After all, how can you kill what you can't catch? The 2949 Arrow from Anvil. Rise above. Available now. See your authorized Anvil dealer for details.
$29.49L. I can't believe it's been 3 years. It doesn't feel like it's been that long, but it seems like it's been just yesterday since that video came out. So the Anvil Aero. Starting with Gomab, do you have you already listed, but I didn't know where I can keep track of everyone. Did you say you had an arrow?
Yeah, I got an arrow on my list. I'm waiting to see what the 2953 version comes out with, right? But it's a very capable small fighter, man. It's one of the 2 best small fighters in the game right now. So fantastic little ship. The PvPers love it.
Definitely.
And Kalrati, how about you? What do you think of the arrow?
I love it. I PvP a good bit, and if it's not the Gladius that I use, I definitely use the arrow, because how I PvP is I'm very aggressive in such a way that I like to keep close to my enemy, so that, for example, if I need to either regenerate my shields or so, then I'll seem as though I'm crashing into them, but I'm actually trying to fly over them or fly past them to start regenerating. And I really love the nimbleness and the maneuverability of the arrow, and it's just a fantastic ship for PvPing.
Cool. Buster, have you flown the arrow?
Have I flown the arrow? That's like asking me if I put on shoes when I go to work.
Home, so I don't.
I go work at work, so. But no, it's the arrow is Bay. The arrow is life. I love the arrow. The arrow was the arrow is one of the few ships that I believe the arrow was there wasn't a concept we saw before. It was one of those that they brought to a Citizen Con, and everybody wanted to buy it right away in 2019. And this is how I was with the arrow. As soon as I saw the arrow, and I flew one at least once or twice, I was like, I gotta have it. I have to. There's no getting around this. I have to have this little ship. It was one of my few impulse purchases in Star Citizen, where I was like, I must have this today. And it's always made me very happy. My only complaint about it is, I have 2 complaints. I was mad when they nerfed it and they took the second shield generator off of it, and I was also upset when. Or not really upset about it at a specific time, but I would really love to see some other paints for the arrow, because I think the arrow was the first ship they released paints on the website for, and they went very I felt like the choices they made with those paints were very conservative and very militaristic, which makes sense for the arrow. But I really want a red arrow. I just want to sing about a little red arrow, because baby, I'm much too fast. So. That kind of thing. I love the arrow very, very much. It's absolutely a favorite for me. It's a must-have.
Arrow.
Oh, Gomab!
You got it. You heard the joke.
You stole it.
It went right over everybody's head.
I had a twinkle in my eye, and I was thinking it.
Yeah, no, baby, it's much too fast.
My question before we go to the next step is, how do you feel about the arrow versus the Gladius? Anybody?
Both are great. I think when Gomab said he said something about the 2 small fighters, if it's one or the other, I would assume you meant the other one was Gladius, right, Gomab?
Oh no, the Saber, of course. No, yes.
Oh, the Sabre.
the Gladius. The Saber is a medium fighter, actually.
Yeah, but the thing is aren't the Gladius and the Arrow, wouldn't we all agree that they're the 2 choice iconic fighters right now? We'll talk about we'll get into the Hornet later, but the Arrow and the Gladius are the babies. They're the ones that everybody loves for a reason.
Yes, and then everybody complains when I bring a Sentinel to the field. They're like, "Oh,
I know. How dare you have ships and have fun, sir? How dare you? How dare you?"
All right, so up next we have the ballista. So I believe we have a video for that.
Good old Jax McCleary.
Your targets will never know what hit them. The ballista from Anvil. Rise above.
Why did you say what you just said?
Because it's great. I mean, I love it. When you use a ballista and then like folks are like, "What killed me? What was that?"
Who did that? What?
This game has so many bugs. It was so funny. You watch the general chat, and folks are like spazzing all over the place. I just blew up. Flying in and then pop.
Jade Starwatcher said something interesting. She said Ballista equals Jumptown 2.0 best non-ship vehicle. I would agree. It has been the MVP of Jumptown 2.0. I can't tell, especially Paradise Cove in certain areas. I can't tell you how many times like I know of groups that I'm playing with or that I'm like, hey, I'm in your server, but you're not gonna kill me, right? Yeah, no, we like you. You know, they will park ballistas on mountaintops and it's a super effective strategy. It's a beautiful strategy. The ballista I think it absolutely is like the it's the Jumptown 2.0 like ground vehicle MVP. Because who the hell used the ground vehicle before it jumped down? Nobody. Right. But the ballista made sure you wanted to use it.
It's so good.
If anything, I would love to see the ballista as an NPC. When we get things like nav mesh and those things, I would love to see it be present at these bunker missions. To give us more of a challenge, you know, it shouldn't be right next to the bunker, but it should be somewhere, and we have to, you know, kind of try to avoid these ballistas. We're hearing, you know, beeps and beeps and beeps alerts all over the place, but we have to try to find that ballista and take it out before we can actually, you know, before the air is safer again. So some extra added value to those bunker missions. So that's something that outside of the whole PvP, that's something that I'm really looking forward to.
It's a great ground vehicle. It's wonderful.
Right. Only reason why I wouldn't go for that is because there are times. Well, if you have that thing shut down, right? If you turn off the engines, you turn off the other weapons. Look, you got to be within like 400 meters for it to even show up. If you're within 2,000, I can kill you.
Yeah, I got time.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't. You know,
it's gonna be crazy.
NPCs had something like that. I ain't doing bunker missions no more. I'm not doing them. I'm
done with this game.
Yeah,
I'm done.
Bunker missions. They may have a ballista, they may not, but I don't want to just be flying.
Don't tell Chris Roberts.
Right. Don't tell Chris Roberts.
Don't tell Chris Roberts.
No, I was gonna say, you all are just loving on the ballista, and I hate to say this, but I think Jay jinxed all of y'all because he said PTID do not change the ballista. So whenever you get there, blame Jay.
Oh, they'll change it. Everything gets changed before release. Come on.
Yeah. All right. So up next we have the C8 Pisces. So let's take a look at that.
The Pisces.
The majesty of the Anvil Pisces. A paragon of exploration, the Pisces features a dedicated scanner, convertible cabin space, and best of all, it's designed to fit snugly within the hangar of Anvil's perennial carrack. This one, however, fits in the palm of my hand.
And that was the C8 Pisces. So let's start with Kalrati. So what do you think about the Pisces?
I love it. It's so reliable. So I was actually PvPing with it the other day at Jumptown, and this F7C, bless his soul, or bless their soul, they actually lost to me, and I was like, I mean, the Pisces is really reliable, and I was like, maybe they were, maybe they weren't all into PvP, but it was so reliable. I was able to. It was just so fun. It's nimble. It's light enough to even do things like that. And I was shocked because I've never used the Pisces for something like that before. But, for Jumptown, for loading cargo, it's very small, very reliable. And I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very quick.
Well, Buster, what do you think about the Pisces?
Honestly, I remember when it came out, like one of the comments about it the most that I heard, at least because, I'm a Star Trek fan, people tell me this kind of stuff, was a lot of people agreed that it very Star Trek feel to it. I think a lot of people likened it to like the, the shuttlecrafts in like TNG and DS9 and Voyager and stuff. And I would agree. I think it has that little bit, even if, whether it was intentional or not, it does homage those vehicles from Star Trek a little bit. But also, I do think it's a fantastic. I like the fact that it it quantums. Because you're leaving somewhere like Jumptown, or you're doing something, you could actually go out and do something. Like, and that to me also homages the Star Trek shuttlecraft, because those were warp capable, or at least commonly they were later. So it to me it very much is like a USS Galileo, or it's like a little Galileo or something. So I absolutely love it for that. But it's a great little craft. I can't complain about it at all.
Okay, all right, cool. Gomab, what do you think about the Pisces?
Oh, I love my Pisces. It's one of the ships I fly more than any other ship. It's just, first of all, it's an instant claim almost, right?
Right.
Instant claim. So if I've got to move some things around, I'll move stuff, claim my Pisces, move to the next place, and keep it moving. It is hands down the best ship to do 890 jump missions with.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It is the best ship to do an 890 jump
I can see that.
with because of there's a few reasons. One, if you got it properly kitted out, you've got some, good laser cannons or laser repeaters.
It's got a little bit of tooth to it, yeah.
Yeah. You can take out the Cuddy Blacks easily. Then you can land in the 890 jumps hangar
and kill all those guys with your guns.
Yeah, and it's just so
I do that
fun.
every time with the arrows. I love that.
It's so much fun because you can come out, you can open that back, and it's the gameplay of coming out with guns ablazing, right? They're shooting at you, you just come out like Rambo. Also, the benefit of that ship over the arrow is that if you're going armor hunting, you can track the NPCs onto that ship.
I already thought about that.
You can take that ship to an outpost, strip them down into the outpost, right? And then just discard their body somewhere into the verse. So that it adds an extra layer of awesomeness to the 890 jump missions. So yeah, that's one of my favorite ships, especially if you upgrade the components on it. It's actually pretty cool. Now, the one thing I don't like doing with it too much is it's not a very hardy ship. Even with the right shields, it doesn't have much like hull HP. And so if it does take much damage, it can get really wonky, and major torque, when they have the torque damage and they don't want to fly right, it's not fun. So
yeah, it has a bit of a glass jaw.
Yeah.
So, Gomab, do you prefer the Pisces or 300 when you do the 890 mission?
Oh, Pisces, hands down, twice on Sundays.
All right, cool. All right. So next
Well,
up we have
mainly it's because the way the back opens. The 300 has like one of the 300
side.
you can
The side
throw
open,
stuff,
yeah.
the side open. But the fact that it's the back open and I can
You just walk right out.
Things, yeah, I can track the
Down a
things
ramp instead of, and you don't get caught in the animation of like climbing down something.
Precisely.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. All right, cool. So next up we have the Carrack Expedition. So let's see a video for that, please.
Oh, the Carrack. Have you heard?
My father always used to say I had wanderer's legs. We all wonder, what's out there? But for me, it was more than that. A stranger in my own world, I set out to find my path. Through all my travels, through all the trials of the unknown, I came to realize that there was really only one thing I'd been looking for. A place to call home.
Silently for a minute
Oh,
while
yeah.
the commercial.
Yeah, right.
They're
Everyone's
like, "What are you doing?"
All right, I think we're back now. So, starting with Buster this time. So tell me, Buster, why is the Carrack Disco Lando's favorite ship?
What?
I'm kidding. What do you think about the Carrack?
Look, I've had a lot of things I've said about the Carrack. I won't deny that it's a great ship. I will never deny that. It's a fantastic ship for the purpose it's out there for. But it is one of those ships that I very quickly got tired of hearing about from the community. Especially when all the controversy happened at that one CitizenCon. You know, it was delayed for a couple more months. But yeah, the Carrack's a great ship. Not gonna complain about it. The thing I complain about is literally like the people who drive Carracks and get obsessed with Carracks. Also, don't, unless you want to be really deeply entertained, don't put the nose of one Carrack inside of the hangar of another Carrack. Just don't.
Okay.
Or do it.
It would never occur to
See
me.
what happens. See what happens. It's how baby carracks are made.
This is a PG storm, killer. Gomab, what are your thoughts about the character?
It has currently the cheapest med bed in the game that you can respawn in.
Cheapest?
Currently.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll give you that.
There's only 2 ships that can do it. This one and the 890 jump. Currently. Soon, the Apollo and the 600i.
Mm-hmm.
And the Banding Merchantman.
And the Banding Merchantman, yes. But I'm talking about ships that would be cheaper. Not, Banding Merchantman, I don't know. Yeah, it may be cheaper. But yeah, so that to me was the biggest thing. I would love to live on the Carrack and have it be like my home base. I just can't wait for them to put in the technology where I can kind of like set my own personal quantum beacon out in like null space.
Yeah.
So that I can, jump in my Pisces in my Carrack and fly away, go do missions, and then set a quantum jump back to my Carrack. As I can put out a beacon mission, right, and have someone take me to my Carrack, and they can jump to it, but I can't.
All right, so
I love the shit.
cool. So Kalrati, I have a question for you. So, the Carrack has been not responsible, but the target of many controversies within the Starjump community. So I wanted to say, how does the Carrack compare to the Carrack killer, the Odyssey?
I ain't gonna start that.
What are your thoughts about the Carrack?
So to Gomab's point, I'm really looking forward to when they expand the map or the game a lot more, because especially when they put in persistence, because that's, I think, when we're going to see the true essence of the Carrack, even if we get only 1-star system. Pyro with all the lack of the stations and landing zones and everything, as well as the lack of resources compared to Stanton. I think we're going to see a lot of persons utilize ships like these to stay out in the first more. Bearing in mind the dangers that Pyro brings. But even if we're talking about Stanton, I think a lot of persons would prefer to stay in their ship and wake up in their ship a lot more often than waking up at a space station or a landing zone. So whenever I see a Carrack commercial or I see someone flying a Carrack, or even I'm flying a Carrack, I just keep on saying, I can't wait until we get global persistence. I can't wait, because, these experiences are going to be so much more present in the verse. So yeah.
Cool. We're running a bit behind, so let's try to get through the next few a bit quicker. But next up, we have the Crucible. Let's see a video for that, please.
For a second there, I was like, soda. Oh, shoulder.
All right, we're back. Yes, we're talking about sodas, folks. Gomab. Before we get to that, I want to say thank you to Starjump for providing that video. That's a great video of the Crucible. So Gomab, what do you think about the Crucible?
Oh man, I appreciate all the people that are going to be buying those and repairing my ships.
Right? Right? Is that it?
Yep.
All right. Fair enough. Kalrati, what are your thoughts about the Crucible?
So whenever I think about the Crucible, I also think about the upcoming FPS repair gameplay, because I think, well, most likely the Crucible is going to go through another redesign or another pass to bring it up to the Anvil standard, and that includes, how the repair mechanic is going to work. So whenever I see the Crucible and we see repair gameplay coming, if it does come at the stipulated, or whenever it does come, even at the FPS version, I'm trying to think about how that's going to apply as a ship. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it and how it's going to be fully utilized.
Cool. Buster, what are your thoughts about the Crucible, please?
Honestly, it looks like it's pretty cool. It's a very goofy looking ship to me, but at the same time, some Anvil ships are that way. It has a very utilitarian look, I guess is what I'm really trying to say. But it's gonna be cool. Like I'm excited as things get along more. How I hope that people that get these support ships that they feel fulfilled with that side of gameplay, like the things like refueling, repair, etc. And I'm really excited because I could see myself falling into that, like in bigger scale events where I don't necessarily want to fight, but I'm like, I'll hang out, let you guys repair while you go, club some seals or something. But not really.
I don't know where that
but you know
comes
what I
from,
mean.
but okay.
Well, so you got friends that are going out, maybe they're doing a bunch of fighting and stuff, and it's like they're holding a bait, maybe they're holding an area, like they're keeping people out of Grimhex or something, or Porto, which is the old favorite. But you could always just repair them. I could see it being used outside of armistice zones for criminals to repair without getting shut down. That's one use I see happening with it a lot early in when it first gets
joy
in.
you gain from thinking about clubbing seals is disturbing.
Not clubbing, not literally.
I know.
But
Not literally. That's terrible.
I do like the articulation of those arms that we saw we see in the video from Starjump.
That's cool.
I don't know how close that'll be to the real gameplay, but hopefully it'll be something like that. You want to say something, Gomab?
Let's just agree to call them tentacles.
I'm trying to stop tempting me, Gomab. Stop tempting me, okay? So that's up before I get into trouble. We can talk about the F7A. So I believe we have a video for that.
Hey guys, not too long ago I received the awesome task of creating the new Hornet F7A ship, which will be featured in Squadron 42. I recently got done with the modeling and texturing portion of the ship build, and I would like to show you guys the process on how we created the all-new Hornet F7A. The original Hornet F7A Mk1 was created by CGBot, and it was used in the first pitch video by Chris Roberts. The F7A is going to be featured in Squadron 42, so naturally we were looking to do a complete update for the Hornet, since the mesh being used in the game as of now is still essentially the old CGBot model from 4 years ago. The idea here was to keep the original Hornet F7 Mk1 series in the game, and then add the F7A Mk2 model completely new from the ground up with our latest techniques and pipeline procedures. Chris thought it would be cool to have the classic Hornet and the new version run side by side, and players would have the opportunity to keep the old Mk1 as a classic collector's item. We were also going to revisit the Mk1 one last time with an update on materials and damage systems to have it mesh better with our current assets. While we wanted an updated and new Hornet, we still wanted to keep the essence of the Hornet line of spaceships, rugged and relatively simple, yet very effective. Also, I had the thought that from a distance, one should be able to tell that the ship is a Hornet F7. Essentially, I wanted to update the lines of the Mk1 Hornet and also bring the mesh up to a higher fidelity and functionality level. We also had a list that we gathered from fans with issues and complaints about the current Hornet ships. From that list, I gathered the most important problems, and most of them were already on my list as well. I tried to remedy as many issues as I could. The initial blockout went well and quick. I took some inspiration from a few of the original concepts from Rob McKinnon, and also jet fighters like the F-14, F-19, F-22, and so on. I started with the front nose section. I made it slimmer with more aggressive and aerodynamic lines. Also, I took great care to enhance the visibility of the canopy, as this was a main concern for the fans of the original Hornet. I did so by eliminating the side mullions altogether to create a great panoramic view with only the two main bars obstructing the view now. I also lowered the sides for improved visibility out of the cockpit. I then moved on to the air ducts, which I slimmed down and tucked in considerably to improve the overall lines of the ship. The landing gear and the wings were moved to the body of the ship, underneath the wings, much like the F-14 Tomcat setup, for a cleaner overall solution for the wing setup, which rotates backwards at high speeds. The bottom of the ship received a big overhaul, and I decided to close it up as opposed to the open design of the original, where you can see the bottom of the ball turret. This way the Hornet feels more put together and less disjointed. Chris wanted to have the missiles hidden and then deploy, as opposed to a wing-mounted setup. Since I had closed up the bottom, I was able to move the missiles from the air intakes and have them deploy from the bottom center of the ship, which is a much cleaner setup and makes more sense. The maneuvering thrusters were also moved for optimal thrust location, and they were designed to be equal distance from top and the side from the center of the ship. The main body of the ship has been made slimmer overall, and it's much lower as well, in order to accommodate the rear top maneuvering thrusters. From there, I made it a smooth transition to the rear wings, which are slimmer in profile and more aerodynamic. For the cockpit, I worked closely with Zane to ensure correct implementation and design. We liked the original cockpit's unconventional, non-square screen designs and tried to incorporate this design spirit into the new cockpit. I also took many cues from modern fighters such as the F-22 and other fighters. From here, I started with the first round of details of the ship, working my way from part to part, and also started to incorporate the big hit decals that define the ship from a small distance. I reused the existing Gladiator textures to create unique materials for the F-7A, and it worked out great, as I saved a great deal of production time while staying within the manufacturer's style for consistency. On smaller ships, we break the ship colors up into 3 main colors that can be changed in the ship's material to create different variations and paint jobs in a quick manner. Since the F-7A is the military variant, it was decided to go with the green version based on the original color scheme of the pitch video. That's where we are with the Hornet F-7A Mark II. We hope you enjoy flying it in Squadron 42.
And we're back. So yes, that was not just the Hornet line. That was not just the F-7A line, but that was the whole Hornet line.
Yeah.
I had to mute myself in stream.
Chat is dragging the Hornet.
Yeah, see, I was going to comment on that.
Dragging the Hornet.
I'm seeing.
I was like, chat, why don't you like the Hornet, man? I mean, when Chris Roberts first put out the Kickstarter back in 2012, the Hornet was featured prominently in the
it was
for the
the
video.
It's always going to be the first ship.
And it's just a shame that chat doesn't like it. It's just, I guess it hasn't aged well, put it that way.
I would agree with some of the people in chat that it definitely needs an upgrade. Like, there's a lot of older ships in this game that were built literally years and years ago that now there's a lot more tech, right? Like, there's a lot of older ships that have had passes made at them so that they're more updated for new tech in the game. But so I'll agree 100% there. It needs some love, it needs some updating. But I love the Hornet. Like, I love my Heartseeker. It is absolutely, like, if they redesigned the Hornets a little bit, I hope they wouldn't go too crazy visually, because like something like the Heartseeker I absolutely love. That is literally the most unique design, like as far as, you know, that nose art on it is one of the most unique things in the game. And the Hornet, it definitely reminds me of like an old airplane with, like, you know, that should have nose art on it. Like, to me, the Hornet was always like that World War II airplane brought to space. And I'll always love the Hornet. It's never did me dirty. It's never done me dirty.
I think we'll talk about the F-7A first, but then what happened? The F-7A had a little bit of controversy. It was available for a limited time, or did anyone here get one? No? It wasn't that one.
I have to look. I don't think I have an F7A.
That was the one that was offered on Veterans Day one year, I believe, and I missed my chance. That I don't know if I didn't hear about it or it was before my time.
That's
but
right.
yeah.
It was like a rare offer.
Right.
And it's even like we've tried for. I remember Paul tried for like a veterans charity to see if they would do like a deal for that with us or something, and it didn't really work out. But yeah, I forgot about that specific variant.
I mean, I know this is the Anvil Day, but I think like the F7A and the Mustang Omega, the F7A is probably, I don't say the rarest, but it's really up there when it comes to
the AMD.
ships.
Yeah, the AMD Mustang and that are probably two of the rarer ships in game.
Yeah, so none of us have it, but it's as far as I know, it's gonna have above par firepower compared to the civilian models, which is the normal Hornet, the Ghost, the Super, and the Tracker. So yeah.
What I would say though.
Go ahead.
What I would say is, let's not sleep on the Hornet. I've got a feeling because the Hornet, or rather Anvil, as a company, it has some I don't know, that name coming from Microsoft Freelancer, because I never got to play Wing Commander and those things. I got to play Freelancer.
Right.
And whenever I checked out the Hornet, especially when I started playing Star Citizen, I got that sentimental feeling of Digital Anvil. I got the sentimental feeling of the Liberty ships in Freelancer, and I've got a feeling that at the end of, or when we get to play Squadron 42, the impact that the Hornet series is going to have, and I guess we can use that to lead into the other ships too, is going to be memorable. And I feel like at least once the systems come online to really make these ships shine, even though they may not look as attractive, we're going to really like them. Just got a small feeling about that.
All right, so before we get too far ahead, there is a video for the rest of the Hornet line, so let's take a look.
Legendary fighter pilot Aria Riley once said, "Give me a fully loaded Hornet, and I'll shake the gates of heaven." Anvil Aerospace's Hornets have faced Vandal, Xi'an, pirates, and criminals. Anvil Aerospace's Hornets have logged more combat time and kills in more theaters than any other ship in the history of space combat. Battle-tested in the harshest conditions, the Hornet has proven time and again its ability to withstand damage and still be able to dish it out. With all the punishment it handles on a daily basis, don't you think the new Hornet can handle yours?
Honey, I got the ice cream you wanted.
new Hornet F7C. See your authorized ship dealer for options.
Oh, but we're not going to get those, I don't think. So that was an old school video. One of the, I don't want to say one of the first, but it definitely one of the oldest. So yeah. So Kalrati, you gave us your thought. Buster, you have any more thoughts about the rest of the Hornet series?
Honestly, they're just great ships. They're great ships. I think the Hornets are great. Again, agree with chat. They need updates, but you know, Kalrati said, you know, we can't sleep on it, and with it being the star of Squadron, of course it's gonna be updated, y'all. Like they just have to they have to make sure it's right for. I think they're gonna make sure it's right for Squadron before they ever fix it out. Like put that build of it out in the rest of the game, Star Citizen. So it is what it is, but it's a great vehicle, great ship. Stop disrespecting it, chat.
Stop dissing it, right? So Gomab, what are your thoughts?
The Hornets, man, they used to be properly outfitted. They were murder boats, man.
Yes, they were.
You know, and then CIG released other ships that said, "Sit down, little boy."
Right.
Yeah, it's just out of date. That's all.
Yeah, it's just out of date.
I think the Saber was the first ship that replaced the Hornet as a top dog.
The Saber was probably the first, because I had a Hornet Ghost. Then I destroyed all the stealth capabilities because stealth didn't work really back then, and I put the I was able to I think rent the turret because you couldn't buy it or get in the game, but you can use the wreck to get the ball turret and the size 5 Gatling gun on that thing, and it would just completely chew through anything you pointed it at, and it was a fantastic ship. But then over time, it just kind of fell.
It got outclassed.
Yeah, it got outclassed by everything, you know.
But it's going to be returned. It will absolutely be returned to a place of worthiness.
Yeah,
before Squadron.
The thing about the Hornets is that they're always supposed to have been like they're the older ship, but they always were very well armored and supposed to be really hardy.
There's a reason we've been using them for centuries. That's kind of what I always got from the lore. There's a reason they've stuck.
Yeah, and they were one of the first ships to ever have the were they one of the first ships to have like the shield tech on them, or
maybe I have to look at that lore. I don't know.
But yeah, so my history with the Hornets, like, it's not the first ship I ever got in the game. My first ship was the 315P. Oh no, it is. I got the normal Hornet package, physical package, but so it was one of my first ships. So I have a long history with the Hornet. I still love the Hornet, as you can see behind me. I tried flying it in the most recent Xenothreat, but we didn't have enough people, so I got blown up a few times. But the Xenothreat before that, I flew it and it was just fine. So if you want to bring a Hornet to Xenothreat, make sure you have people with you.
Yeah.
And Kusanagi, yes, she said it is a star in Squadron 42. I don't think it's going to be the star, because like you said, the Gladius is also a star, but it would feature prominently.
The Gladius is going to be the star in Squadron 42.
Yeah, but it is a star, because like I said, it was featured prominently in the 2012 Kickstarter video. So, yeah. But it just recently had not recently, but I think it was the 2017, 2018, when it had a rework done. I did talk about with Chris Smith in that video. But yeah, it gave me a gold standard, so that should be upcoming. It should be something to look forward to. Like everyone here is saying, don't sleep on the Hornet. It'll have its heyday back, I believe. All right, so up next we have the Gladiator, so let's take a look at that.
And I'll be right back too.
All right.
Back. So, going to start with GomabATL today. This time. So, what do you think about the Gladiator?
Yeah, it's a another older ship that needs an update. Shady Phase, you hit the nail on the head. I now I've known some people that flew them recently during Jumptown, and they enjoyed it. I think it handled well in atmosphere. The size, it's one of the only ships. This ship and the Harbinger are the only two ships I believe that could carry size 5 torpedoes. And so it's fairly well armed. It does decently if there's I think you can have a turret operator in there as well, a second person. But it's a fairly well armed ship. But it's just, as the video shows, right, there's not a lot of love for it out there. They haven't put a lot into it yet. But I think it could be, if we worked and really done well, it could be a serious alternative to the Vanguard.
Kalrati, what are your thoughts?
So it's been a while since I've flown the Gladiator. I remember that was one of the earlier ships that I did purchase that's now in the buyback. But yeah, like Gomab said, it has potential. Currently, I wouldn't say that compared to, for example, light fighters and medium heavy fighters, etc., there are many gameplay opportunities to make use of it compared to those other ships. But it's why I'm curious to see what CIG has in store to offer us those opportunities. If, for example, other ships or other opportunities will come about where, okay, we can use the Gladiator a lot more with its torpedoes to make, in some of these dynamic events or some other missions. So I'm very curious. I'm very, very eager to see where they're going to take these ships like these. So it's like the Hornet series. It's another wait and see, I think, with potential.
Okay. Buster, what do you thoughts about the Gladiator? And welcome back. You're muted.
Looking at the Gladiator, I don't know if I've ever flown one, to be honest. I can't think of the fact I can't remember a time I've flown a Gladiator. Maybe I have, I don't know. But it's such a I don't think I've flown one before, to be totally honest.
And most people haven't, right? Because
most people haven't.
It's just a ship that's there. Now, what's, one thing to me, just looking at the, it's a heavy fighter, right? And we all know what the Anvil, heavy fighter is supposed to be, and that's actually the F8, right? So it's like, this is supposed to slot in between the F7 series, or either the F7A or the F7C and the F8. But I would have personally liked just like, if they would have taken the path of the Vanguards and made an F8 variant with torpedoes, I think that would have been like really cool, or at least bumped it up to get you a little bit closer to where the F8 is, which we'll be talking about later.
Right on.
Yeah, my thing. Go ahead.
No, I was agreeing. Said right on.
My experience with the Gladiator is that, like people have been saying, it is one of the older ships. I was thinking for the Master, thank you for the 100 bits, and I believe made in Ariana. Thank you for the bits also earlier. I missed my chance, but as far as the Gladiator goes, I had an interest in the Gladiator because I do love missile boats. So I was trying to decide between the Freelancer MIS and the Gladiator. I think I went with the MIS, but now I don't have either. But yeah, so I like the concept of a missile boat, but I don't currently have any in my fleet. So yeah, okay. So next up, we're taking a slight break. You want to take a slight detour. I think all of us participated in what's about to happen. Buster, GomabATL Kalrati, and I haven't participated in a video from New Soul called Jumptown 2.0. So let's take a listen.
Hechluchme. Hechluchme. Chach jashvam. Kuichach.
Maiden Ariana, tell them what's going on.
Jumptown is on again. Jumptown is on again.
We're back. We're presenting with new show. I need a call up for backup and instead of going to follow my name right. FESTCA, though, NVIDRT, we're taking it, flow. Better than Star Trek 3 is taking time to breathe. We got BUST, ERT, AC, DE, STRY, ER, flying down from high.
Welcome to the little land called Jumptown. However, by the authority of my crown, I must let you know that it's all shut down. So be wise, I advise that you recognize my colors when you're flying up through the sky. You know I'm riding in my arrow, feeling like a sparrow, winking at my little picture of disco. He's so fine, it's him I think of when I drink my blood wine after I'm done extracting all y'all's brine. So much so I could pickle a gherkin, cause I got y'all out here working when all I'm doing is just a little lurking. So before I'm done getting my fill, suggest you peek out your windowsill and get a good look at the lady that you call Miss Hill. I got a license and a certification. Tony C collecting data on the sensation from all this murderous aviation. Swing on Mars, swing on hole. Ain't no sleeping on these beats by new soul. Or when they're out on patrol. Speaking of, let's make another run while we still got some sun. Drop me a beat that goes on the turret gun like.
Y'all people are mad, think we're gonna stop. Give me Jumptown prop. Ain't no party like a Jumptown party, cause the Jumptown party don't stop.
Jumptown is on again.
Woo-wee! Tales from ATL, my friends.
Jumptown, the original digital trap. My crew about the paper, so you'll find us where it's at. Ballista's on the hill, so if you're trying to drop bombs, you better chill. You won't see the eclipse before the kill, for real. We told you in general it ain't safe, so no crying in general when you see it ain't safe. But if you want to try it, be my guest. But backing out and hopping service is probably best. Better yet, come through. Give these goons with me something to do. And tell all your friends to come too. Hell, bring your whole crew.
That's right.
Boom. Sound the alarm, we locking down, jump down. Only the brave and the merciless are come get the drugs, steal the contraband from somebody else. Live or die, yeah, jump down. It's a do or die. Eye for an eye. Your life is meaningless. Under the bullets and the bombs as they go badang, 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 badang.
Jumptown is on again.
It's a do or die, eye for an eye. Under the bullets and the bombs as they go badang, 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 badang. Your life is meaningless. Your life is meaningless. Your life is meaningless.
Okay, that was awesome. Thank you for the new soul to that. Buster, you're sitting there cracking up and doing the video. Do you have regrets? You have regrets, Buster?
No, I don't. I was laughing though. I was like, it took me a second. Y'all were like, "Oh, he has this video," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's this week." And then like, of course, like I'm like sitting here going like this the whole time. Y'all can't see me. I'm like, when my part's going, and I'm like, "Oh, you fucking dork, you fucking dork, you
Thanks
dork,
for the
you're such a
follow.
dork." And then when y'all did the Disco Lando part, and you put that's when I don't know if you guys could see me on the VOD thing, but I was like, I immediately like turned away and I just started like laughing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh my
The
goodness.
best though. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. See, the new soul, because of you, we're getting followed. So thank you for the video. Appreciate it.
Did y'all tag him in that? Because I normally say don't tag Jared and stuff, but I would tag Jared in that he would appreciate that.
I think we will. So, if new soul haven't done it yet, I will later.
No, I never tag Jared. I never tag Jared. No.
All right, so up next we had the Hawk. So let's take a look at the video for that.
There's a new hunter stalking the skies. Take warning. Maximum pilot visibility. Daunting suppression options. Riskless onboard detainment. All at your fingertips. The predators have become the prey. The 2949 Hawk from Anvil. Rise above.
Yeah, so this is one of the ships that I don't have too much experience with. So I'm gonna start with Buster. Do you have any experience with the Hawk? Yep, you made it.
It was the Hawk, right? The Hawk, yeah.
Yeah, the Hawk. Yeah, the Hawk.
That's the catcher ship, right? That's the one I can catch bad people in, right? Well, not even bad people. I guess I can kidnap anybody in the game nowadays, or at some point. The Hawk I've flown a few times. It's a great fly, but I just don't think it's like. I think it's gonna become way more interesting when the ability to capture people is in the game. So that's just really my take on it right now. It needs work. It needs mechanics to make it more interesting.
All right. Gomab, what do you thought about the Hawk?
Nah. I mean, it looks like it should fly as good as
an arrow.
Yeah,
or a Shrike.
Yeah.
Or I mean a Talon, whatever those things are called.
Yeah, it just doesn't. And it's not very well armed. I think it comes default with like distortion to shut ships down, which fits what its what its role is. It's just very underwhelming in the current game.
Yeah, without its proper mechanics, you know.
Without its proper mechanic, right? So so we'll, as the game evolves, we'll see if it finds its lane and becomes more useful, because right now it's not.
I
love the people.
The turning's horrid. It flies great in a straight line. Sorry.
And I love that people are still talking about the new soul video. Just send them lots of love in the chat. Thank you, everybody.
Talk about the original digital trap.
Yeah, new soul's amazing. Don't
the
sleep on them
Kalrati, what do you
either.
thought?
So
what do you thought about the Hawk?
The Hawk has a special place in my heart because that was the first ship that I bought in game. The moment that ships were first purchasable in game in patch 3.5, sorry. And I see the Hawk as a support tick, right? Apart from the bounty hunter features, because of the amount of weaponry that it has. Well, size 1, size 2 weaponry, and the EMP. So I see it as a support tick. But I don't think that we have many opportunities to make use of a support tick just yet. I have flown it many times. It's okay in PvP because of the amount of weapons that it has, but in terms of maneuverability, like everyone's saying, yeah. So we'll see. How much it can be used in the future. So yeah, I like the ship, but yeah.
Yeah, this is one of the ships that I have no experience with. I can say I have no interest in the Hawk either, but it's a cool looking ship, but that's about it for me. So, yep. So next up we have the Hurricane. Yeah, for this one, I have to start with Gomab because I know the Hurricane and Gomab have some history together. So, Gomab, what do you thought about the Hurricane?
Hey, it's the tale of two cities, man. On one side, it's fantastic. With you and your buddy, you can. It is the definition of a two-man murder boat. It is. There's not much. It's going to stay alive very long with a competent pilot as well as a breathing turret gunner. If you got a competent turret gunner, oh man, things just go pop. But on the other side, man, I hate seeing these ships in bounty hunting missions, man, because they just have way too much HP. They just take way too long to kill for the ships that they are. They will receive another balancing pass, but I don't know. Like I said, it's a mixed feeling about them.
Like Dave Darwash said, Gomab is one of the best Hurricane pilots. So yeah,
thank you.
That's what I meant. Kalrati, what do you thought about the Hurricane?
So I've had some experience with it, not using it, but going up against people who have. It's because of the stats that it has currently, it's proven quite the challenge, but in a fun way. So, for example, going up against some persons who've been pirates for Ninetales and PvPing with them, especially when they have turret gunners, it's been quite the challenge, but in a very fun way. And then, of course, the mercenary missions. The bounty hunter missions. Sorry, they are quite annoying, but again, in a fun way. So, but I also can't wait until they do a bounce pass on it because yeah, it needs a bounce.
All right. So, but before I get to Buster, I just want to remind people that we are taking questions. So, if you want to submit a question, click the little token or eclipse down below and submit a question. And we'll get to those at the end of the episode. So, Buster, thoughts about the Hurricane?
I had to unmute. I love the Hurricane. The Hurricane was one of the first ships that, I had been playing Star Citizen for a little bit, and I was getting into the fighting side of Star Citizen, and I didn't necessarily understand what heavy fighter meant. I just knew that I wanted one. I didn't know it was a two-person ship when I wanted it. And it's a funny story. I won it from somebody early on in my Twitch career because I was their 50th follower, and they were like, "Hey, you can have a bunch of my channel currency, or you can have a Hurricane." And I was like, "I've wanted a Hurricane for so long. There is
who wouldn't take a Hurricane?
There's no power in me to say no to that." So I was like, right? "Yeah, dude, I'll take a Hurricane." Now, recently, I upgraded my Hurricane to an Ares Inferno. Which there's part of me, like, I was literally on stream that day going, I don't know, guys. I don't know. It's going to be really hard for me. Because I love that Hurricane. And before turrets were great, I still love the Hurricane. Because even before turrets were good, I was good at turrets. And one of my other favorite things, one of my very favorite things about that ship is the way you load into it. Like the way that the seats, like the pilot seat is under the chin. It's like under the ship's chin or the nose. And of course the turret, same thing. It's below. I think it's very interesting. And sometimes I wonder, I would be interested to hear if like there's some kind of lore about the Hurricane that maybe it's like somewhat based off of Vandal design, because the Vandals
the same way.
Yeah, because like those ships you load in under the like in Vandal ships. So the Hurricane is always going to be something I love dearly, and I guarantee you the moment I have the ability to, the thing, like, that's why I have buyback tokens, is because of that ship. So that's the ship. I will absolutely buy that ship back one day.
All right. Cool.
I love that ship.
I don't have much. I don't have any experience with the Hurricane, but I hear it's a good ship. The accolades are coming in Twitch chat about the Hurricane, so yeah, maybe I'll give it a try one day.
I want back. I want my Hurricane back one day.
I think we had the Liberator, so let's take a look.
The Anvil Liberator, which is Anvil's latest design spaceship, which is purely for transporting ships.
I mean, people will see straight away the correlation between the two and the sort of influence, but it also makes sense, right?
It's a very
functionality.
I'd say it's a very functional ship, isn't it? So, and it feels like say, obviously, the real life version has been made for that function, and this kind of follows suit.
Then we move on to the interior, and it's only 2 crew.
Yep. So
learning going on, so now it's like, okay, if I'm a player, what experience do I want?
Yeah.
Like, how do I get from A to B? I don't want to do A to G to H to get to B.
Yeah.
None of that business. So as we look at these interiors, we just sort of looked at sort of different flow, basically different ideas. So it feels quite good, and we sort of worked on, again, just flow. So if you're in the garage, you can easily get from the garage into the living quarters. The elevators just run the full height. It's one for crew, one for passengers. So if you're under the ship, you can just easily get up and down. And then moving on to, you can see here the garage space and where the cargo is stored. So it makes good use of the space. I mean, because like I said, the ship is quite big. So then we get to the fun part, which is when we get into promo. I think it's everyone's favourite part.
3 spaceships and some ground vehicles, long distance. Very cool.
So for this one, I'm going to start with Kalrati. What are your thoughts about the Liberator?
So it's a very questionable ship for me. But every single time I read or look at info about it, I often think I try to link that with the whole refueling or longevity experience in terms of travel distance. And I often think I'm very, very curious as to see where travel distance goes in terms of the use of the ship and giving it as much use and justification to use it, because given that it is a very small carrier, I'm very, very curious to see how well that this kind of utilitarian ship can be used. And given that it is a ship that CIG would like to have backers try out and use, I'm curious to see how that whole travel distance for ships, that whole experience is going to come into play. At the same time, do we know if the Liberator can refuel ships apart from carrying them?
Liberator refueling. I know it has cargo for a lot of stuff, so
right.
I'm guessing it can. But
okay,
yeah,
okay. All right, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, but I can only say for certain when it's closer to being fleshed out and released. But yeah, it's an interesting ship. I'll have to say.
Buster, thoughts on the Liberator?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. It reminds me of the Crucible and the shape and all that and design a little bit. I think it's a really cool, and I at first I thought it was weird. I was like, it looks like a scoop, like something you'd scoop stuff out of space with.
Oh yeah.
That's how I felt about it when I first saw it. But at the same time, like seeing the concept art and kind of in that video and seeing kind of the idea of it explained out, I really love it. And that's again, like I said earlier, really curious to see like when these support ships are really going to start mattering for people and how many people actually like come out and do those things, like do support ship gameplay. And that one's going to be great. I'm really excited for that. That's going to be a cool, that's going to be a cool ship to see flying around with the shape that it is, especially because we have so many like aerodynamic looking things, and it'd be nice to see something that's a little bit more odd. And I want to see one land, because how? But that's right. That's for another day.
So, Gomab, when this ship came out, a lot of people were like, "We're finally getting a one ship that finally designed to carry more than one ship." A lot of people were trying to turn like a Carrack into a cruise ship, or maybe the Merchantman into a cruise ship. Now that people finally we're getting something out of a cruise ship, people are saying it costs too much. So can CIG win? What are your thoughts about the Liberator?
No.
No.
It's like what was it? I think it was Ray. And Ray's guide said it's the shipping ship for shipping your ships. It's a very straightforward, has a one main purpose, and it's great. It's going to have a wonderful use in the verse, as long as, and I think CIG should do this. So if you guys are listening, for these size ships, they need to have a special class of quantum and jump drive, or at least quantum drives that are much more efficient, longer range, and faster, so that it's always, it will, yes, there's going to be, the fighters, the small fighters, they're very short range and they have very small quantum tanks to begin with. But you want to make there be a reason to put it onto this ship other than any other ship, right? Say, hey, look, this Liberator is meant to get you from point A to Z over there really fast without using a crap ton of fuel, because it doesn't matter like if it uses the same amount of fuel that the fighter would have used if it had that fuel tank, it's still going to cost you just as much. So if it's much more efficient to do that as well, I think it'll have a much bigger place in the verse.
I think this will be, an interesting ship to say the least. I'm looking forward to seeing when people get their hands on it. I'm not going to get one in particular, but like I said, people have been clamoring for a way to transport ship. All I gotta say is, if you do get one, make sure you have escorts when you do carry ship from place to place, because you definitely don't want to go, without some kind of defense, in my opinion. So up next we have the Spartan. So let's take a look at the video.
We're currently gearing up to head to the Tobin Expo Centre in cooler than cool New Babbage, and seizing the opportunity to put this Anvil Spartan through its proverbial paces. The team designed this not-so-little beauty specifically to transport the most precious cargo of all, your friends, family, favourite heavily armed mercenary outfit, etc. So if you're looking to get a load of folks from point A to point B and keep them all in one piece, then the Spartan was seemingly designed just for you. But this is Whitley's guide, so we aren't just going to take Anvil's word for it. Plus, hey Marty, how are you? I needed some personnel to looking good, Merrill, to transport for this segment, and there's nothing my good to see you Terry executives here like more than not paying extras. Everybody in? Off we go. machine, Anvil uses the Atlas platform that their ballista anti-aircraft unit is built on. So they obviously aren't taking personnel transport lightly, so to speak. But I want to find out just how heavy this metal really is. And since this rig's low profile keeps us safe from those anti-aircraft turrets, Jimmy here is about to make things a little more interesting. We're about to find out if this Spartan can stay cool under pressure, whilst keeping our friends back there relatively comfortable in the face of impossibly heavy turbulence. Not good! Oh, I don't come any closer than that! You hear that? That sound of silence means we've all survived, thanks to the handling of Anvil's Road Warrior.
Gotta love Jack with Curry. So first we're going to start with Buster this time. So is this another good vehicle for Jumptown? What are your thoughts about this Spartan?
Honestly, I have not messed around with the Spartan enough to check it out myself. But I imagine I imagine it's pretty useful. But again, I don't see it out anywhere like I see the Ballista.
Yo, the Ballista is king of Richardson.
I mean, Ballista seems to be the king right now, so for ground vehicles at Jumptown especially. But I don't know. I mean, sometimes I get so behind on Star Citizen ship and vehicle releases that I'm like, oh yeah, I don't think I've been in a Spartan yet.
Yeah. All right. Go, Matt. What do you thought about the Spartan?
No.
Comab's like, no. No.
It's really cool, but they just missed one opportunity on this thing, and it's just inexcusable. And if they would have done it, it would have made it 185,000% better and more useful. Take one of those seats and make the turret remote. Right? Make it a remote turret. You can't drive that thing and work the freaking turret. It's a ground vehicle. It's not a space vehicle where I can maneuver easily to line up a shot. So let it be a remote turret. So if I have somebody back there, just take one of the seats and split it off, or take a couple of the seats and make it a remote turret seat, and make it the rest of them passenger. I would have bought two of them if that was the case. But the fact that the only person that can control that turret on the top of it is the sole driver, it's just like either I'm driving or I'm shooting. It's not a spaceship. I can't do both. So
that's right. I have driven it, because now that you say it that way, I'm like, oh yeah, that really annoyed me.
Yeah. I mean, it's same thing with the Ballista. Like the Ballista would be just like out of this world much better if they did the same thing, right? But I mean, the missiles and its other strengths make up for it. But this, it's like you might as well just take those guns off of it. It's no point. It's a freaking school bus at this point with decorative guns on the top, because you can't. They're useless if you're dealing with a spaceship, or even with a fast moving or moving ground target while you're driving, unless you can. So that's my biggest challenge with it. And I do agree with Jade's point of, like, it'd be great if they continue to build on this platform and chassis and make like an Explorer variant that had like a bed and like a hab unit in the back and maybe like some scanning or something.
It would be cool if even there was like a medical one, you know.
Yeah, a medical one, right? Just a ground-based medical thing. And I think vehicles like this will become much more important. Like, let's say if they came out with a Jump Town 3.0 or a 2.5, right, where one of the locations had like 18, or let's just say 8 anti-air missile batteries all the way around the bunker, right? Where it didn't matter. You just could not fly a ship in there. So you had to get your troops and everybody in there to work the Jumptown dispenser on using ground vehicles, right? So yeah, something like this will be great if they just did that. So CIG, put anti-air, not on all of them, but on one of them. Make it the day where it pays out the most, and you'll really see a lot of people using a lot of your ground vehicles.
Kalrati, have you ever played Mass Effect?
Yeah, I played Mass Effect 3 and Andromeda.
Have you driven around in the vehicle that's in Mass Effect?
I did, and I was.
How did this compare to those vehicles?
So, at least for Andromeda is what I can definitely remember. The Spartan doesn't feel as maneuverable. Of course, it feels more grounded, you could say. In terms of its use, I often looked at this video and the Squadron 42's vertical slice, and I can definitely agree with Gomab with regards to the anti-air. And the only other use that I'm seeing for it is when we get nav mesh and more AI on the surface. To if we have a lot of AI on the surface and we need to clear the ground, maybe the AI have a lot of anti-air FPS weapons of their own, like the rockets, etc. Then I can see the Spartan or a group of Spartans really being used because of their defense and the guns on it that may not be able to really contend with airships on the other side, but to clear out the troops. So it's missing some of the opportunities to really make the functionality shine, I think, as opposed to what we saw in the video, like the AI on the surface and those things to really make it shine. But so once again, it's one of those vehicles that I'm curious to see what kind of environments we can really make use of it, to the very most.
All right, cool. Yeah, I don't have too much experience with Spartan. Most of the ground vehicles I've ever owned were like speeders and single seaters, so I don't really have too much experience with these, but they look cool. And I do like the look of this Spartan. It gets an A and looks for me. So, all right. So next up we have the Turpin. So let's see what's up.
Anvil Aerospace. All systems online.
Nice. I just want to remind people we are taking questions at the end of the show, so if you want to submit a question, go ahead and submit one through the clip button down below in the quick chat. So that video makes the Terrapin look pretty. I've seen the Terrapin before, but it's been a while since I've seen this video, so I've forgotten how it's looked. So Gomab, what do you thought about the Terrapin?
It'll be great when its gameplay is released in game. Until now, it's just a small ship that's hard to kill.
All right, Kalrati?
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. It's on the bright side, it's one of those things that has good defense. So when you have Jumptown and those other instances, you can make use of it in terms of its space and everything. I think it was one of those earlier ships that featured. I can't remember his name, but when they actually showed off the slots for the internal components and those things, so it was very exciting to see. The first time it was presented, I just really can't wait for scanning and exploration to be fleshed out more to really make use of it. So that's as far as I can say with it.
Buster, the Terrapin.
I've always liked the lighting of the Terrapin in particular, especially when it's like got that red light in that seat. And I 100% agree with Gomab. It's just kind of, it's not as a very useful ship until its gameplay loop is in the game. Hi, Weedle. Well, it's your desk now, I guess. But anyway, it's okay. Rude. Sorry, she threw me off. But,
go ahead.
remember the little Terrapin on Reddit? Remember the little Terrapin things? That is the best thing about the Terrapin. Is the little Terrapin that somebody made. So whoever you are that's out there, I'm sure I can track you down on Reddit that makes the little Terrapin things. You brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, and I hope that you continue to do that eventually with the Terrapin, and maybe even other ships. I would love other series about the other ships. But little Terrapin, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up little Terrapin on the Star Citizen subreddit, and there should be 13 of them total, but you'll find them. And Weedle likes Terrapin. She likes Terrapin.
I will try to do that after the show, so thank you for that. So up next we have the Valkyrie, so let's take a look.
Ask any soldier. They'll tell you that battles aren't won or lost based on weapons or numbers or even hardware. They're won on choices. For over a century, our ships have distinguished themselves in thousands of civilian and military combat operations. We are proud to announce another weapon in the arsenal of victory. Get ready for the next generation of warfare with Anvil's Valkyrie dropship. This multi-role weapon platform is designed to get personnel in and out of the hottest combat zones. Featuring 4 powerful rotating thrusters with VTOL capabilities, the Valkyrie is capable of landing with surgical precision to deploy assets. Fitted with a vehicle bay and ramp, you can also efficiently launch ground-based troop transports or reconnaissance vehicles in the field. Each high-performance operator seat features rugged construction with added support to minimize G-force for up to 20 personnel, making sure that your fighting force arrives on site ready to jump into the fray. And don't think for a second that the Valkyrie can't hold its own in a fight. 2 remote turrets featuring size 3 hardpoints can provide suppressing fire during deployment. 2 additional manned turrets provide even more devastating fire to blur the line between dropship and gunship. In the days of antiquity, the Valkyrie were believed to choose which warriors may die in battle and which may live. With Anvil's Valkyrie, we put that choice in your hands.
No, I'm going to stop. Kalrati, what are your thoughts about the Valkyrie?
It's one of those ships, if not the main ship, that I'm really looking forward to. Just having it, to be used for dynamic event, you know, like something equivalent or as large as Xenothreat, but you know, something that is more ground based. It took me back particularly when they had that dynamic event AMA, and I think it was Jade who asked the question about having more, like having a dynamic events, but with regards to Jade Star Watcher, with regards to, you know, land based conditions. And it's one of those ships that I think is going to shine so much for those instances. You know, not necessarily for the missions that we have now, but those kinds of events that, you know, require the kind of firepower, especially when it comes to having anti-air presence there, but especially when it comes to deploying troops in bulk. Something, you know, I think that's where it's going to truly shine. So I'm really looking forward to those kinds of opportunities to make use of it to its fullest potential.
All right, thank you. Buster, thoughts about your Valkyrie?
Yeah, I've always liked the Valkyrie. Whittle, bye. Are you going, Whittle? Whittle, are you leaving us? Okay. She'll make up her mind in a second. But I've always liked the Valkyrie. My only thing was, like, I got a little salty about the whole cargo situation early on with the Valkyrie, that, like, basically everybody cried loud enough and CIG changed it. But then again, as over time I've realized, like, you know, that's people giving feedback and CIG changing based on feedback. But because I would really like the Valkyrie, though. Like, I would not like it to be a cargo ship at all, like to transfer and sell cargo in. I would like for you to the ability to buy cargo and have that cargo placed in there, and to be drop cargo, like with parachutes on it and stuff. That's just me, because I'm like, it's a drop ship. It's supposed to drop people and supplies and vehicles, so I want it to be true to that and not move cargo. But that's just me. That's just me. I'd rather, if it's going to move cargo, drop the cargo. It has to be drop cargo. So that's just my feeling about it. But a great ship.
Gomab, thoughts about the Valkyrie?
I mean, it was cool until they released the Cuddy Steel and it just blew it out of the water.
All right. Well done. Well played. Any other thoughts?
No, it is the drop ship, you know, RIP to the Vanguard Hoplite. But it's the drop ship. I remember the first time I flown in this ship, somebody picked us up. We were doing some rock binding, and I picked up in the Valkyrie, and I had never seen it before. I think I had just come back to the game. I'd stepped away for about a year or two, and I was like, "Oh, what is this? This is a nice ship." But yeah, so I mean, when it comes time for us to, you know, need to put lots of boots on the ground, you know, in a hot situation, I think, you know, the Valkyrie is definitely going to be the way to go with that, man. It was a purposely designed dropship, and they did it very, very well. And as far as the cargo is concerned, yes, I agree. It's not a cargo ship, but if you got a huge open space, it doesn't make sense for me not to be able to put a box in it.
Yeah, I feel like waiting for a bunch of ships, right? Yeah. I feel the same way for a bunch of ships. Like, they had space. Why can't I put a box behind my seat or something?
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, that was the Valkyrie. And we almost made it all the way through the ship. I lost count of how many ships we talked about tonight, but this is coming up on the last one. So this is the almighty F8.
Time has come. To embark on another bold adventure. To face dangers, new and old. We feel your deeds far and wide.
Everybody with me? Let's give them a show.
And when you finally stand victorious, we will stand beside you, united in purpose.
I'm gonna need a loan of about $10,000, maybe $15,000, so I can get my hands on this ship. I want this ship so bad, but not quite $10,000, but still, I want this ship really bad. Buster, what are your thoughts about the F8?
The Fate Lightning, I always like to call it the Fate. The F8, I look forward to seeing that in Squadron and all these other games. Yeah, I guess you hit a certain level of concierge, you get one eventually one day, and of course, what was it a while back? I mean, I saw people stealing them.
I wanted the IEE, or was it Invictus? One of them, yeah.
I wasn't even during that. It was like a month ago, like maybe during Jumptown 2.0, the first iteration. But I saw people stealing them, and I guess some people got mad because they're like, I've paid to have that ship, and I didn't even get to have it before people could steal it. Whatever, whatever. Who cares? But the thing is it looks cool. I had some friends stand on it once to take their shirts off and flex. So that's the biggest experience I have with that ship.
We're not expecting that. Come on, what are you talking about the F8?
Shirtless men flex.
Never have they released a ship that we know is, if it comes out the way it's spec'd now, it's going to immediately be induced salt-filled tears and bring on the largest Nerf bat ever created in the galaxy. Like right now, just with the sheer weaponry on the ones that they had in like Invictus, if that makes it into the game, it will literally, if folks thought that the Ion was destroying small ships quickly, you don't compare it to the NPC. Compare it it was the amount of weaponry on these ships stock is absolute insane. I think it has something like 6 weapons, like from size 4s to size 4s and size 3s. It is 4 size 4s and 4 size 3s. That equals delete, right? It's if there's any ship that can be just called the burnt, that's going to be that one. So we already know somebody's going to die to it and say it's not, and CIG is going to be like, they're there. We're gonna make them all size 2s.
Oh gosh!
Yeah, that would suck. That would suck. Don't do that.
Don't predict the future. Okay.
Or they're going to be like, okay, we'll remove all aim assist and make it so like your even though your target is here, we're going to make it shoot like pew 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 pew.
They'll be like, sir, I need you to make it a weapon of skill. I do not think that it's fair.
You can only hit with half your weapons at a time. Like your right side we hit, or your left side we hit. And that's
like the X-Wing. And
we never told you it's going to be a sniper ship. It's just a 50 cal. It's just a 50 cal. It's supposed to take out.
I think Gomab is still traumatized
just a little bit
with his experience with the Ion. But to Kalrati, quick question: do you think CIG will ever sell this ship to the general backers? And like right now, it's only available. Right now, it's only available for $10,000 concierge and $15,000 concierge when you get the black skin one. So, do you think they'll ever sell this ship?
They may, but in a civilian version, like a cut down civilian version, similar to how I think. Like even when we earn it for Squadron 42, I don't think we're gonna get the UEE version. Just speculation, but it could be something that's more civilian based. And to Gomab's point with regards to us wondering how this thing is even gonna survive this performance, I think the future is closer in terms of understanding its place with regards to the Scorpius, because I mean both ships are in the same category, right? So I'm curious as to what they're going to do with the Scorpius. So you know,
this is only 4 size 3s.
it's 4 size 3s. Well, with the turret, but that's on the wings.
Yeah, 4 size 3s and maybe 2 other weapons on the turret. This is 4 size 4s and 4 size 3s.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll see what they'll do with the Scorpius to get a hint of what they'll do with the F8 Lightning. So, yeah, I'm curious. But to confirm your question, Fastcard, I think they may sell it, but once again after Squadron 42, all right, and a civilian version.
After Squadron 42.
Yeah, it's definitely
how much you think? If you had to guess, what price would you put on a civilian version? 250, 350, 350.
Probably 350. It's not going to be cheap, especially if we see how bang stang it is in Squadron 42. Yeah, they're going to market it, and it's going to be a popular ship.
Yeah, so to the bottom point, it will be earnable in Squadron 42.
Yeah.
There's some guesses or rumors that it only be earned if you complete the game or the act or whatever in insane difficulty. So if you do it on normal or hard, you may not be able to get it if you complete it on insane. I hope that's not the case. Like, I would like to be able to get it on easy mode, but yeah, you never know.
Yeah,
they're gonna make you have to complete the whole game of Squadron 42 in a Aurora.
I was thinking an MPUV, but that doesn't have quantum. So.
It doesn't have quantum. Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen some people like be pretty baller in an Aurora,
and they'll have their F8.
Really, there are so many ships in this game that are at such different, varying levels of like, you know, how lethal they are. But really, at the end of the day, what makes a ship the most lethal is the person in the seat.
Right.
That's what really makes a ship lethal. Not all the gun, you know, whatever. I've seen people take bodunk little ships and annihilate people with much better ships.
Yeah, tell the folks that was complaining about the Ion.
Oh my God! Shut up! Shut up!
Oh
Shut
my
up!
God.
Nobody cares. I mean, clearly, like 5 guys on Spectrum do.
So Buster and Gomab, what do you think? If the F8 if they would have sold the F8 as a civilian version, how much do you think it would cost?
I would agree with Treativity.
Really, Gomab?
I don't know.
It's gonna be $500 if it's $1.
It's one of those ships that like that would be really controversial. Like that's one where I think CIG very much knows that if they don't do it right, they're gonna step into a lot of shit with the community, especially high paying backers. Because you know anytime, and that's kind of part of one of the things with this community. The more that people pay into the game, pledge into the game, the more sometimes I think the more like entitled they get about what they're owed. And I get it. You've paid a lot of money to CIG, but that's one. If they do sell it separate from like the way it is now, they've got to be real careful. They got to be real careful how they do it because they can upset a lot of people.
Yeah. Notice I said if. I didn't say when.
If.
If.
I doubt they ever will. I personally doubt they ever will. I really doubt
fantastic. It's fantastic logic, but I will enter into evidence Exhibit A. Cuddy Steel cost over $200.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're going kind of nuts on this. They're trying to see, you know, they're going.
You're right. It probably would be a $500 ship.
Yeah, they're going the Air Jordan Max. It's like, hey, let's just throw it out there and see if they'll buy it.
It would be the top fighter. Like, and the idea would be literally the best fighter in the game. So you're going to pay the most for it.
Yeah.
And I hate to give credence to it, but I would melt so much stuff, and if it was $500, I would melt so much stuff to get that on outside credit. So yeah,
and you're
probably right. You want so up next we have some questions. So we had the first question from someone called Buster the Destroyer, and her question was: have any of you ever had an Anvil manicure?
Yes, I have.
And what is that exactly?
I actually sent it to Griffin just a little while ago. I don't know if he. Yeah, there you go. He put it up. There it is. I've had a Star Citizen manicure before, and I since we were talking about this, it dawned on me while we were talking. I should bring that up because a couple years ago for TwitchCon, I got that manicure with, and that girl, she hand painted that. That was not a stencil. That was not any. She hand painted that.
That is what I would call my friends a fan. You're definitely a fan.
I was like $200 worth of fan that day. I'll tell you that. That was not a cheap manicure.
Went towards your actual ship. Yeah, you could have bought an actual ship.
No. Buster, you used RSI credit for that, right? That's how you got it.
What? How I got what?
RSI credit. RSI credit.
I wish. I literally said just the other day. I literally said this like 2 days ago on Twitter, and I've said it before, especially since I got that manicure. I'm like, man, I'd really like. I know that there's like not a ton of ladies in the community, but it is a growing part of the community is the ladies. And my God, how hard would it be? How hard, CIG? How hard would it be for you to get little tiny like nail art stickers in the store? I mean, think about it. It's tiny little stickers. That's so much money. You could charge like $10 for a sheet of like little nail art of like maybe 20 stickers, and bitch, I buy like 5 of them.
And
I don't see them doing it. I don't see them doing it.
Don't be exclusive. It wouldn't be just the ladies that would be buying those.
No, there'd be plenty of people, but let's admit, like it would mostly appeal to women. That would be the target. That would be the biggest part of the target market there.
I don't see them doing it for the store. I would see them doing it exclusively at a CitizenCon or some kind of event.
Boy, I hope that they do it. I could
bag at CitizenCon and sell them. Just keep an eye out for security.
Well, it would be like one of those things. Like I would have to hire out somebody. Like I can't come with them with like, hey, but then would I be paying somebody to make Star Citizen thing? Like, would that violate? That would definitely like be a violation of their copyright. Because I would pay somebody else to make them. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Pay somebody to make them, and then what you do? I'm gonna tell you. Look, I'm gonna tell you the old T-shirt at concert game, right? What we used to pay $6 per T-shirt, and then sell them for $12 a piece, or 2 for $20. You know what I'm saying? We gotta have a deal there, and then we kept the profits. So boom.
We were doing so well.
I don't know, but it's just that like with Star, like Jay says, it violates their IP. Their IP is really strict, and it makes it very difficult to like. I've had so many custom things I've wanted to get made with Star Citizen, and I'm like, but I don't want to be that kid, you know, that goes and does the dumb thing and gets a cease and desist letter, you know.
Right. Yeah. Right. No one wants to be that person.
So CIG, this is me as a lady in the verse, as a lacquer citizen. Please consider, really seriously consider making nail art stickers. It's such a low cost, high payoff item. Sorry. And think about all the Instagrams,
and I just had to ruin it. The last question is from Donnie B. Good. Question for Buster. Do you think we should continue to send him Whataburger or get more crafty next time, Kappa?
Get more what, Kraken?
Now, do you think we should continue to send him Whataburger or get more crafty next time, Kappa?
Nah, he doesn't deserve anything. He gets plenty from me. He's talking about Jared.
Yes.
Yep.
No. Buster, the proper term is Disco Lando.
Disco Lando. New Soul, Fist to Face. You gotta send me the link to that, and y'all gotta tag him in it. And I won't. Y'all have permission. Everybody has permission to tag Disco in that. In fact, let's get him back for John Crew. Everybody, go on YouTube. New Soul, get that YouTube link out. Everybody, go tweet that video out and tag Jared. And Tony Z, if Tony Z has a Twitter.
I think he does.
Does he? I gotta find him on Twitter.
So whenever Disco watches this, remember, it's her fault this time. Don't blame me. Don't blame anyone else.
I usually don't condone it ever because I'm always super embarrassed. But I'm like, you know what? He's in a song. He should be happy.
So up next we have our Black History Moment video. So let's talk about the giveaway first. So we have a giveaway. I'm not sure what the keyword is, but we'll put it in Twitch chat soon. But we're giving away a T-shirt, mug, and game mouse pad. If you do win, we want to DM Soul Citizen or email us at soulcitizen@gmail.com and send us your shirt size. So make sure we have that. And make sure if you do enter, make sure you're okay with sending us your address so we can ship the item. So that the keyword is ! Cisco to enter the Soul Pack giveaway. And here's our Black History Moment.
Avery Brooks was Captain Benjamin Sisko of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Avery, in addition to his impressive work on the stage and screen, is a tenured professor of theater at Rutgers University. And if that isn't impressive enough, he's an accomplished jazz singer and pianist.
I was first Commander Sisko. I got a sci-fi promotion during the 7-year period and finished as a captain, Captain Benjamin Sisko. One of the things that attracted me to it was to talk about this male child, father-son thing, especially for, though not exclusively, people of color. You see, I mean, it is, it's a reality. The single parenting. It is a reality of the disproportionate number of brown male children without father figures, etc. So it was very important to me that relationship, remained strong, in the context of the 7 years. I actually have an MFA in directing and acting. So this idea of directing, I just never had the time, to do it. It wasn't a stretch, if you will. I spent a lot of time in theater, etc. So even in the other series that I was doing, I didn't have the time. So this, now in Star Trek, I had the time, and they gave me the opportunity to do what I know how to do. Well, after a point, the crew is so good, and all we have to do is set it. They know what to do. I know where the camera goes. They work with me enough to know how I want it done, you see? So yet then in terms of the relationships with the other people, again, we've been together now so long. They have some sense, we have some sense of each other. So all I need to do is remember my lines and get out of the way. You see what I mean? Yeah, if it's not right, somebody's going to tell me so. Especially across the lot. Look at the dailies, they will say, no, reshoot that. I suppose one could say that Star Trek, and in other shows as well, you can fix, in this electronic box what you cannot fix in the world. So, it is a 24th century allegory about the 20th century. I mean, you know what I mean? Or you could reverse it, if you wanted to, but it allows us to talk about things that we can't fix. I would certainly hope that we can figure that out. Maybe not in my lifetime, but try to figure out some way to ensure peace on Earth, or in the universe for that matter. Even though we understand about the ancient notion of war and man's proclivity to, do such things, I would hope that one day we're going to figure that out. I've said this often, I want to be a part of the equation of life-saving and life-giving. So it doesn't matter what form that takes. It doesn't matter. Anything. If I can help somebody. You see what I mean? First responsibility, of course, is, once I had children, then that's what I have to do. Make it better for my children. And then, exponentially, everybody's children, if that's possible. Certainly in, the power of this thing, in this box, you have the potential to positively affect a lot of people. At the same time, if you don't take that responsibility as seriously as other people do, then it's a colossal waste of time. I've now done not very many conventions, but I've done more, as years have gone by. But I say in the very beginning to the people that you complete the thought, see? And I always believe that, not just about Star Trek, but, engaging in this electronic two-dimensional plane. That is human beings who complete the thought, and therein lies the power of it. Because without the folks turning it on, without the folks supporting it, talking about it, sharing it with each other. I'll tell you this, once I went to a dinner with a young woman who was on a soap opera. Well, okay. And, of course they have these dinners, just a fan-based dinner for their characters, the people that they follow every day. And what struck me was that how important this electronic two-dimensional plane was to people who could not move, who could not walk, who could not. This window, if you will, to the imagination and the world was in some ways more important than I had ever considered. And thereby, then I understood, I hope, in a new way, how important the people are who decide to turn it on.
And we're back. I'm going to ask everyone to enter exclamation point Cisco again. Some people didn't make it through, so if you have entered, I'll just enter again. Exclamation point Cisco. So I'm getting some Discord messages I'm trying to ignore, so please excuse me. So up next we have, I just want to talk about our next shows. We have on Thursday Show Talk at 10 p.m. Eastern, 3 a.m. UTC, where we talk about Star Citizen. Mostly it's ISC and what's happening during that week. Gomab, you want to talk about Sunday's show?
Yeah, Sunday's show is great. It is our anniversary show, man. We've been around this sun. What is this? The third year?
2 years.
2 years? Oh, yeah.
Two.
Time flies. It feels like 3, man. It's when you're having fun. It's a second year anniversary, so yeah, come join us. Come help us celebrate 3 years of Soul Citizen. So we're gonna, hopefully have as many folks on there as possible, and let's make it a party. Let's do it.
Yep, that's March 6th, 8 p.m. Eastern, 1 a.m. UTC. So check us out for that. Hopefully everyone has re-entered exclamation point Cisco. So Buster, you want to give us a 5 count for that, please?
A 5 count?
Yep. Countdown
Okay.
from 5.
All right. Let me think about some of that. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. There's 1.
Lobster Mac has won the giveaway. Lobster, are you there?
Lobster Mac. Lobster Mac, you must say something in chat.
Lobster, you there?
Makes me think of that
Nice.
song.
There you go. It's just nice. So yes, go ahead and contact Griffin if you're on Discord, or just send an Gmail or email to soulcitizens with an S on the end at gmail.com.
Congratulations.
So yeah, thank you. So I want to thank everyone for joining us, especially in the quick chat. Marzipan, thank you for the subscription. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to Gomab and Kalrati, and welcome again, Kalrati. On good job in your first show. And special thanks to BustertheDestroyer. Always a pleasure to have you. I think this is your second time on our show.
Oh gosh, no! I think it's like my third or fourth at this point.
Third or fourth, yeah. So
I've been here a few times. I was here a couple times last year, and this is my first one this year, though.
Okay. So yeah, thank you, and welcome back.
Yeah, well, thanks
So
for
did you have
having me.
fun?
Oh, I always
fun?
have fun with you guys. Y'all are always the most. I don't know. Like I've said this before about Soul Citizens, and I'll always say it till I draw my last breath. Chat, everybody in the world watching this, thank you for the resub, by the way, there, Silvesto. This is literally one of the best, most wonderful groups of people in this community. That's always such a positive experience to hang out and talk to Soul Citizens, and everybody that hangs out with Soul Citizens, whether they're a member or they're somebody just like on the Discord that likes to hang out. Everybody that's involved in the Soul Citizens community, some of the nicest people in this community. And if you consider yourself a part of this sector of the community, or you were liked by people in this sector of the community, you should consider yourself a very lucky person to know them.
Dave Starwatcher, I wonder who that is. Thank you for the subscription, Dave. And thank you for the kind word, Buster. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Don't ever sleep on Soul Citizens. They are the kindest of this entire community. I will say that till I die. I really mean it.
And with that, we already plugged our show. If you want to follow us on social media, we're on Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, iTunes.
Everywhere.
Everywhere almost. Yeah. So try to find us on Soul Citizen. We also sell merchandise, as you just pointed out before. Go to our merchandise store.
Merch too.
T-shirt, mugs, caps, mouse pad, and now we have long sleeve T-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, and almost anything you could want. So with that, thank you again for everyone, and I believe we're going to raid Maiden Ariana. So yeah, we got that going on. So you send Maiden Ariana our love, and with that, I want to say thank you everyone again. Peace, love, and soul. Take care.
See you, everyone.